Yay! Hassan is back. Welcome back, Hassan. How you been?
I've been well, man. It's been definitely a crazy, busy time, but really excited to get ready for the holidays and even connecting with you as well, and on the topic of holidays. But really excited, really well. How you been?
Good, good. Yes, definitely got my head down and busy at work and busy in life, what have you. Um, yeah, it's hard to believe that Christmas is right around the corner, and we're going to talk today about holidays and Christmas and all that stuff. And so I was like, oh yeah, let's talk about that because I need to get some festive cheer because sometimes you get so busy at work and you forget there's bigger things on the horizon.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. So why don't you kick us off? Like you're always great at bringing up some topics and what you want to unpack. And so when you said you wanted to talk about Christmas and the holidays, I was like, hell yeah, let's bring it on. So tell me more.
So the origin of this was I was actually talking to a colleague of mine on their Christmas traditions and sort of what they do, and it sparked with Elf on the Shelf. That was something that was a really foreign concept to me, where I was like, what is this?" And it got me thinking of the. I get asked this question every year, and as a Muslim, I don't religiously celebrate Christmas, but it's not to say I don't have Christmas traditions. When I was born in Saudi Arabia, and it came to Canada in 2003. And wouldn't you believe it, Home Alone was a big movie in Saudi Arabia. Like in a place where there's sand, we don't even know what snow looks like beyond a movie. It's Home Alone, the holiday special for Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and Full House. And
Wow.
mind you, that was the extent of my English as well. So when I came to Canada, imagine this kid with an accent speaking with the swagger of Will Smith and the cheesiness of Full House. I was a mess when I came here.
I don't
But
know. That sounds pretty good, man.
oh, it was atrocious. It was assimilation took a bit, but we're finally here, and it finally all made sense. But it was interesting of how, irrespective of people's faith and backgrounds, everyone seems to take something away from the holiday. So I'd love to talk to someone like you who grew up with a Christmas tree and maybe
Mhm.
caroling. These again, all my assumptions based on Hallmark movies. So
Yeah.
if I ask you a question that's really out there, just please know it came from here. And I'd love to share some of our own Christmas traditions that we have, and we'll go from there. So, first and foremost, I want to unpack the culture of what Christmas means to you. So, talk to me about, when does Christmas start for you? What does your family sort of do, whether it's tree decorations, inviting family over? What does the holidays look like leading up to Christmas Day?
Yeah. Well, I think it changes as I've changed through the years, as I've aged through the years, and the level of importance is also adjusted. Like, um, for me, my kids are young adults now, and so like if I go back, 15, 16 years, it was really about there's a lot of focus around driving around the community and looking at all the lights, and if you're fortunate enough to be in an area that celebrates with parades and things like that, um, really getting out there, and even if it's freezing cold or snowing, generally raining where I live, you still go make an effort to go do those things. Where I live in Ladysmith, it's on the 49th parallel. Um, it's actually got a light up event that has a whole evenings of our First Avenue has got a whole bunch of trucks and different different people putting things together and floats and you name it, all the local businesses, and it's really cool because there's an actual countdown, and it's a massive street. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say massive, but it's really long, and it's full of people. and then the countdown happens, and Santa's up on the roof of one of the buildings, and he pulls this big lever, and the lights come on, and like I think it gets me in the feels for sure, right, in that moment. And so that and then that kind of triggers, like, you got to put all your lights up and decorate and put up the Christmas tree and stuff. So when my kids are younger, it's kind of the, okay, you want to, they have their wish list, and you want to get all those special things for them, and then uh you know Christmas morning, it's like ripping all the presents apart and seeing their faces, and excitement, and seeing if they got what they were wanting, and if not, well, you get what you get, right? But and as the years kind of morphed, and then it was about like getting close to my family, their grandparents, and their great grandparents, and making sure that we spent some time with them, whether it was Christmas dinner or what have you. As the years kind of progressed, it became less and less about the gifts, because it was toys and things like that. Now it's those things are kind of the little sidebar things, but it's really more about the time together, right? Like dedicating all the time to each other in that one day. So it is the visiting, it is just the simple moments of hanging out. It is maybe around the dinner table, and preparing the dinner. Just But it's really become just about that family time, more so than the gifts. So that's kind of me as a family man. But I also, I've been in the business of retail for like 30 years, and I started for an organization that, I didn't start, but in my career, I started with, or was with a company that opened up on Boxing Day, which back in the day was very, I think it might have been illegal even, to be open on a holiday. And it started becoming notorious for being open, and um, open at like 6, 5, 4 in the morning. People were lining up around the block the night before. And so not I always had this like day of, family and all these traditions, but it was also like the next day I was like I had to go to bed at like 8 because I needed to be prepared for the next day. So as much as all these beautiful traditions are on, there was also this stress of like, I'm going to be working 16 hours the next day, and I need to get my rest. So it was a little bit of twofold, like, really lose myself in the moment of the day. But as the day progressed and got later and later, I was like, oh man, I better get to sleep. So, and that's been my
Christmas
life for a
is
long time.
over.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I got my dessert, and now it's bedtime for me.
That's amazing. When especially when you're talking about the 4 a.m. lineups, man, that brings me back to early 2000s. I remember just hearing it on the news, especially in the US, where, oh
Yeah.
yeah, there was like a stampede, and like, like you see the windows of people piling up. I'm like, man, I would love for a deal like that to hit us just one more time. Like I used to see people grabbing 4 or 5 TVs because they're like
Yeah.
50% off. And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a time.
I can tell you it was, but it became part of the Christmas tradition, not just as someone that was in the business, but before I started in that company, my aunt and I used to line up for those deals
Oh,
as
okay.
well. So it
Interesting.
was just like her and I would, it was the same kind of thing. It was just like, oh man, like, we're, we get the flyer out, and we're like circling the things that we want and the deals. And then it was like, yeah, let's get up 3, 4 in the morning. Like some people were showing up at 10, Christmas Day. It's crazy. But yeah, so that also kind of was part of our tradition, that we used to always get together and make sure that we were buying CDs or tapes back then, and getting all the deals, and whatever electronics that we're trying to buy too. So
That is amazing. There's so many I can relate to that. And, like, it's not to the point of getting up early to line up for, because like my family, we would like to be those people, but we just inherently weren't. I think we all love sleep a bit too much to do that. It's funny, especially coming from Saudi Arabia, it always felt like we were a decade behind on everything. Like, you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, where Fresh Prince of Bel Air was the newest show in the 90s, it had already had its series finale about 3 years ago. And so we used to go, I remember we'd go to, like, what was it? Like Canadian Tire at like 10 a.m. and all the deals are gone. I'm like, oh, look, a popcorn maker. I'm like, wow, we won Boxing Day. And lo and behold, 3 hours ago, they had a sale on barbecues that we fully had just missed. You know what I mean? Like, we all got the scraps. We're like, oh, wow, no one picked that. I wonder why. Like, we were those people. So I see you guys on one end of this where you're up at 3 a.m., you're ready to get the best stuff. We're like, wow, what's left, guys? Let's see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's always a deal to be found, right?
100%.
Yeah. And so, what? I'll turn it to you. What, being something that you didn't necessarily celebrate. What, and talking about Home Alone, like that is also something that, like, movies will trigger me to get into kind of the mood. But what are some of the traditions that you've maybe taken on now that now that you've kind of embraced this crazy festivity known as Christmas?
I can go as small as making snow angels to as big as, like, like seeing traveling for Christmas trees. I remember when we first came, so I'm born Christmas Eve. So
Yes, right.
like there was always something to celebrate in and around this time, so I could relate to the feeling of presents and celebrating, and so where other kids were excited, I could sort of share in that excitement, because like in and around the same time there is something kind of going on. And
Yeah.
especially with the holiday shopping, the malls, the deals, circling the flyer, while those kids were looking at Christmas gifts, I was looking at birthday gifts. I'm like, yeah, this is what we need to do. But I remember when we first
Mm,
came to Canada, it was the tradition that used to be, just when the first snowfall came, we would just be by the balcony just watching snow, because we couldn't believe the substance was
right.
real. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
like, you're like, is this really happening? And I feel like, I feel like such a wide-eyed person talking about this, but it was true. Like
Yeah,
we would be so excited to go and make snow angels. That was the thing, and taking pictures of it. And
yeah.
eventually, the older we grew, um, we started taking on some more festive things, like cooking turkey for Christmas. That
Mm,
was like, let's try that, and it was finally something amazing. And then one year, we it sucks now because the secret's out, but hotels used to be very cheap on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, very cheap.
mm-hmm,
And then we went
mm-hmm.
to Niagara Falls one year on Christmas Eve and spent Christmas Day there. And in the
Oh,
Hilton Hotel
nice.
in Niagara Falls, they had this massive tree. Like, we would just sit and just be in awe of it. And then Christmas Eve night, we used to have a window room overlooking the falls, and the falls were in festive colors. It was
Mm.
just our tradition. We're gonna do this every year. And lo and behold, everyone else who doesn't celebrate Christmas started doing this. So now if you go to Niagara Falls, it's packed and the hotel rates are up. And you're like, are you kidding me? This
Yeah,
was ours. This is our hidden
crushed.
gem.
Yeah.
Damn it, Expedia. But now, um, then it morphed into just skiing on Christmas Eve day. And now, on the more macro levels, the older we get, it's, again, to your point, it's more about spending time with family, loved ones, just
Yeah.
saying Merry Christmas. My dad and I love just saying it in and around this time of year, whether you're in the grocery store, whether you're in like a line for Swiss Chalet, like wherever it is, it's a common greeting, and it's a common festive spread.
Yeah.
And that, now our traditions are, dad watches Hallmark movies effective December 1st. That's him. And the plot
Yeah.
is the same every time. I can't get how he's invested every time. It's just the role switches. It's, if it's not a rich guy, it's a broke girl. If it's not a broke girl, it's a parent who's not, it's the same story recycled through.
Yeah.
And I think the last big thing is going to malls, just going to a shopping mall and just seeing the festivity, buying a thing of pretzels and just looking at Christmas trees. I worked 3 years ago at Sherway Gardens, And
Hmm.
man, that was working retail at a mall gets you in the Christmas. But granted, you're hearing Mariah Carey more than you wish you would have, and
Yeah.
than the average
Right.
human being tuning into the radio. But man, just
Yes.
seeing people buying gifts, like seeing parents coming in their lunch break, seeing kids sort of eyeing through the window, that still exists even in the world of online shopping. So that's
Yeah.
now become the tradition of just go to the mall, see a tree, have some good food, see family, and of
Yeah.
course catch a Christmas movie. We have to catch one a year, whether it's a rewatch of Home Alone 2. I love the second one more than the first one. Not a popular opinion.
Oh.
I just love the
Whoa.
chaos of him being in New York and
Yes.
him checking into a hotel and ordering room service, and his dad gets
Yeah.
the bill at the end of the movie. I just gets chef's kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course the music, right? I mean, when you hear
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
doesn't get in the
Yeah.
Christmas spirit?
Yeah.
But that is sort of kind of our culture and traditions surrounding Christmas. Another
Yeah.
thing I'd love to sort of get into, you mentioned gift buying, and this is a bit
Yeah.
more on the fun side, but what kind of gift buyer are you? How does Jason Lambrick shop for gifts?
Oh man. I love to splurge. Like, and like, I love to give. I don't do well getting. Like, I'd rather just you can give me a lump of coal and probably deserved it, but I also would embrace it because I don't necessarily like that. But I love the element of surprise. Like, the downside of like a wish list is like it's kind of easy to check off the boxes. It's also kind of easy to disappoint. Like, kids
Yeah.
have high aspirations and dreams. And so, hey, if it's a wish, go for this, shoot for the stars, man. And so I think as much as they can be exciting, they can also be a little bit of a letdown, which I think, could be something that if I could reflect back on it, I might not have put so much emphasis on it. But back to how I do like to go above and beyond, even if it is beyond my means, what have you. Um, and I also like to like catch people off guard. So like maybe it's something small, well, I'll put it in a big box. Or, I've literally taken some presents and I've like packing taped, like, so I'll wrap, said original box that's this big. I'll wrap it in wrapping paper and then I'll literally like packing tape it, like clear packing tape over and over again, like all different directions. And then I'll wrap it again with another wrap. And like I'll do 8 layers, different shapes of boxes, you name it, just because it slows down the experience, drives them a little bit crazy, also makes it that much more enjoyable once you get to the final gift. The anticipation builds, right? So I'm a big fan of that. I like to hedge and hide things a little bit too. So like, I might put the gifts downstairs under the tree and then, like start getting through them and then it starts thinning out. And then, kids are like, hopefully grateful that they got what they got. And then it's like, oh, well, it's all done. And then boom, like the big one, right? Whatever I like to try to get a family connecting one, something that we can all enjoy. And I like to just kind of go out of nowhere, out of the closet if it's an actual thing, or, maybe if it's an experience, drop the statement once everything else is kind of done. So you kind of get like that, okay, we're through it, cool, and then bammo, just one more shock and awe, right? A little bit of fun and excitement to kind of finish it off. So yeah, I like to make it a lot of fun and exciting for those that are receiving it, and if I can um, throw a little decoy or delay in getting to actually unwrapping it, I think that's a lot of fun too.
Another question for you, Jason. When do you Christmas shop? Are you an early shopper, in season shopper,
Oh
or a
man.
last minute shopper?
I think guys get a bad rap in saying that they usually are last minute shoppers. Um, I I again, I love to give, and so I am a lot more proactive, I would say. I wouldn't say I'm like October or September, because like you mentioned about the mall experience, I actually do like to be in, I guess some would call it chaos. But I like to be in the busyness of it, right? Because you it is kind of like it is a lot of consuming, but I like that. I think it's kind of cool to see the family there that's shopping and they got their bags and they're so
Oh yeah.
excited for little Timmy and little Suhu, and getting that gift for them, and you hear the music and you smell the smells, you see the decorations, and so I tend to lean into right into the mix, kind of December range. I do like to have everything buttoned up pretty fast. This year, I'm definitely way behind, but yeah, I would say I'm probably in the middle somewhere. I like to be in the buzz.
Middle.
If it's the last day, like if it's Christmas Eve, like I don't know. I've done something wrong. But the one thing is I probably will still go out on Christmas Eve. I might go to like a coffee shop, get my favorite drink, in the season drink. And so I like to be again out and about in it. And then I love to spoil too. So I might be like, oh, I'm totally done, but oh, that's really cool. I didn't see that before. I better pick that up and throw it into the stocking or something like that.
Stockings.
Mm. Stockings actually might be my favorite thing, to be honest with you. I didn't even talk about stockings.
So let's
I
get
don't,
into that. Why is that your favorite of the gifts?
yeah, so, you know, it goes back to my childhood. My family was, man, we went through some hard times and uh, pretty poor. And I always remember as a kid, just get up and you're like, I can't sleep anyways because I'm like so excited. But the one thing that my parents always forced was like, no, stockings first. And you would go to the living room and you would see all the gifts and all the twinkling lights and half of a cookie eaten and what have you. But it was like you had to take the stockings and then come back to mom and dad's room and sit on the bed, and then it was had a brother and a sister, and so the five of us would all sit around and kind of take out the stocking, and it was just kind of magical. It was usually the traditional toothbrush and gel or toothpaste and a mandarin orange, like these silly things, but just having that connection of togetherness, just each kind of lifesavers. There's little lifesavers boxes and stuff like that. And that to me just felt special, regardless of what was bigger under the Christmas tree. I actually really, really love that. And sometimes at some points in my life, I tried to make, with my wife, I tried to make big gifts in the stocking just to try to reverse the roles a little bit there. Because big things can come in small packages too. So I love that one.
That's really interesting. If I have to like get a summary of it, the way you are a shopper, but not necessarily the way you shop, but the way you package. I feel like you take a big kick out of the build up and the suspense, and
Oh yeah,
putting
yeah,
an AirPods in a stocking and maybe like an orange in a big box. Like it just.
yeah. I like to play mind games because again, it's the element of surprise, right? That I think is just really fun. And watching, just being the observer as people open those things. It's just like anything to uh, watch someone else experience that joy and excitement. That's way better than my own, joy.
100%. I honestly, I heard it, and granted, isn't an Oreo commercial, so
Mm.
take it with a grain of salt. But it was the greatest gift they can give is like it was. I'm blanking on the exact verbiage, but it was like the reactions that they have. So you as a giver, the best gift the receiver can give back to you is their reaction to what you've given them. And granted,
Yeah.
it was Santa having an Oreo,
Yeah.
but
Of course.
but like there's something to be said about you put it's not about the act of the gift or the physical gift itself, right? I mean, an AirPod's an AirPod, an Xbox is an Xbox, but it's the thought behind what you put into it, the way you wrapped it, and for them to give you that big moment, I think is the most heartwarming feeling. So I can resonate with that quite a bit. And here's to hoping you get an even bigger one this year and every year moving forward.
Yeah. But the other thing too, I think about being the giver. You think about someone that's they're having tough times making ends meet, and um, here they are, and they're saving up money, and maybe stretching themselves a little bit thin to get that special gift, what have you. Um, for their kids, right? Like they put all their energy in. Maybe they're working overtime, or they're making they're I don't know, they're making some crafts or something like that, and some side job to get it done. The amount of energy and emphasis that they put into to make that gift happen, um, to see the reaction or excitement is pretty amazing, right? Like it's like anybody can go buy that gift, right? Like unless it's something really unique, it's like, oh, there's 5,000 of them, and so like everybody can buy that. But the journey to get the money to buy that can also be someone's story, right? And so that joy and energy, you think, oh man, I'm so tired, I worked 60 hours this week, but I got to get the OT in and all that stuff. But to see little Timmy and his reaction to it, internally you're just like, man, it's all worth it. None of that pain, or those long hours. It's all gone. It doesn't matter anymore, right?
In the
All
back
worth
of
it.
my old high school wrestling sweater, we actually had a quote. We don't remember the days, we remember the moments. Right? Like, you don't remember how many
Mm-hmm.
days you put into something. It's just the moment of when it came to fruition is the moment that
Mm-hmm.
means the most. So definitely, you know what, man? And hearing you talk about it, right? Like working those long hours, it takes me back to those old Christmas movies and cartoons. And Timmy gets it, but then he sees another kid who doesn't have a toy, and then he get like, just it's
Yeah,
what a great time of year, man. Honestly, just and
it
the
is.
coldest and darkest times of the year, like for people to be able to have something like this to look forward to and celebrate, and it's
Yeah,
infectious, man. Like you see, even to people who don't celebrate, to be able to be a part of it, right? Like whether it's
yeah,
you're going grocery shopping, $8 for a food bank, Merry Christmas, or just something that kind of brings communities together, and it doesn't feel isolating, but rather at least the way it's done in Canada, it's a very inviting and it's infectious.
yeah.
I look forward to it every year.
Infectious. Sometimes it can get. I mean, you're kind of forced into like the whole. Well, not all of it, but like. But once, if you just give like a little bit of into it, and just like, okay, like there's a lot of good in it too, right? I mean,
100%.
and you're absolutely right. It's like it's dark times, like it's the coldest months of the year. It's the shortest days, and so meaning it's the darkest of days. Rain or snow, depending. It's a little bit depressing, and so when you have something that is so polar opposite from what nature gives us in the time of the year, it kind of counteracts, and it's nice to have it. It's a glow, right? There is a certain glow and feeling to it, as long as you don't get lost into the hustle and the bustle, right? If you get swept into the stress of, because it can be stressful for some. So like if you didn't plan well for getting your Christmas gifts, or you didn't build a budget for it, like I could see it being negative too. But it is something that, like, maybe we'll talk about it in a bit, but there are certain things that really turn the switch for me like that. Like I'm like just working guy doing my life and enjoying life, and I don't really see Christmas. But then there's some triggers that I'm like, oh, like my smile is big, but now it like goes like Joker size big. And I get that feeling in the heart, and I get into the mood. Um, that's when I really, really feel good about it, and it is nice. And it's nice to see other people like it too, that are really into it.
100%. It's funny you mentioned about making lists and budgeting, and man, like I think if anybody who knows me is watching can attest to this. I am a horrible gift giver in the sense of when I've gotten you something, I need to give it to you right away.
Yes, me
And
too.
I Christmas shopped in September this year.
Wow,
I
get
couldn't
out of
get
here.
back to school was when those deals came. That's when I did my Christmas shopping because I had my budget laid out. I knew what I was getting who, and I couldn't even retain it. Where yeah, my
Wow.
mother-in-law, she wanted an Apple Watch, and there's a great back to school deal. I'm like, yep, it's yours. Here, just I need you to have it. Wear it. You can have it Christmas morning. Like just some friends, like yeah, I remember even my friend, she was telling me, she's like, don't give this to me until Christmas Day. And then
Yeah.
luckily we ended up having this meal where her and a few other people were by. And I'm like, man, you're here. I got to give this to you now. And so I just, she loved it. But she's like, bro, I'm reopening this on Christmas Day. So
That is so cute.
yeah,
That's
man, horrible
We
gift
share
giver.
that in common for sure, for sure, for sure. I went before I had kids with my wife. I was shared that I was the same. I buy something, and I couldn't be more aligned to you in that way. We actually I got all my Christmas stuff, and I think it was like December, might have been mid December even, and I'm just like, yeah, we got to do this. And I think we actually celebrated Christmas like our unwrapping everything and had like a Christmas Day, December 15th or somewhere around there, like so long ago now. But so I am totally with you. But you're torturing yourself. September, like that's a long time to
Oh
wait.
man,
So I could
for
see why
me,
you gave them up.
once I have an idea of what you
Yeah,
would like, it's
yeah,
there, it's locked in, and the only thing I can pray for is that you have a birthday before Christmas. That's my only saving grace. Like my wife, she
oh my
wanted a
god.
Nintendo Switch really badly, and it was
Yeah.
back to school, and her birthday is in May. So the
Oh
fall
yeah.
2024 May, that gift is given in October. I'm like, here you go. We are set. I can't. But it's infectious, man. Just
Yeah.
I love the holidays, and even if I over budget, like I budget and get things done in September, God help me if you catch me in a mall with a Bath and Body Works, man. There is always a
Yeah.
candle you can gift someone. There's always that last minute thing. I shop online as a result of this. I'm a
Yeah.
big, you know, do it online. I don't go in to try things because I know the second I go in, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, sucked into it. And I mean, I think it's like a crowd attracts a crowd, right? So a
Oh yeah.
bag attracts a bag. You're just like, oh, that's a good deal over there, or that's a good deal over there, or hey, I'm empty-handed. Like maybe I forgot something. I gotta get on this, right? Even though you're set in September, you're already all set up. Too funny.
I'll share one last comment, but then I'd love to move. I'd love to get your final thoughts on this. But was
Yeah.
out of spite. Me and my wife were arguing, and this is when I worked in the mall. We had a Bath and Body Works right beside us. And I was telling her, I was like,
Oh man.
"Babe, they have shampoos for like they carry shampoos." She's like, "No, they don't." I'm like, "It's called Bath and Body. I'm assuming hair is part of your body. Why wouldn't they have it?" So one day I went in out of spite, man, and it was like 3 for 15 or whatever, and I just to show that they had the assortment. Out of sheer pettiness, I just grabbed it. I'm like, look, hair, but it's like those men 3-in-1 body hair and conditioners. Like, it wasn't even a shampoo; it was just one of those concoctions. But yeah,
Oh
man, it
man.
was. And she's like, why would you even go in? I was like, well, they had like they had their Christmas sale for their candles, and Man, some of the scents, like I could dedicate a whole
Oh,
Jason's thoughts on Bath and Body Works of like
I could too.
Santa's like glove. I'm like, how do you even procure a scent for such a thing? But
They do it. They do it.
nevertheless,
Yeah.
for the final note, one of the
Yeah.
things I love doing come Christmas time is watching Christmas specials of a series.
Yes. Yes.
And I always find like it's a nice little break. It's part of the canon, but not really. And one of the shows I love Christmas episodes of is Community season one. That Christmas
Oh.
episode, it gets me in the feels every time. And one of
Oh.
the things that they're talking about is the quote goes, the meaning of Christmas is that Christmas has meaning. And for him, Christmas used to mean having Christmas with his mom, but now it means having it with some other people. And so
Mm-hmm.
the idea that Christmas has meaning is what gives it meaning. What does Christmas mean to Jason? Like, what does this holiday mean to you?
Mm. It to me, as I said, probably morphed a lot. But I think for me, it's always been no matter how busy you are, wherever you are, that you're reminded to make time to connect with your family and be with your family. To me, above and beyond, you're born, you're a little kid, start growing up, you create your own family, and life is really busy. And sometimes you might not see someone for years, maybe not even months, maybe years. And I think sometimes you just need a little bit of a smack in the head, where we all kind of realize, hey, there is like a big moment in December called Christmas. Let's make sure we make effort to see each other and get together and make time, um, during that season, because quickly you can go through life and years go by, and you're not really connecting with people. So for me, I mean, probably once upon a time, it was definitely the gifts as the receiver as a kid, and I was like, yay, new toys, new GI Joe or Transformer or whatever it was at the time. Um, but now in my more reserved older age, I definitely think it's just time to connect with family and make sure you make time.
So it's not about presents, it's about presence.
You got it.
Oh,
Yes, it
I love
is
that.
absolutely that.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
hope.
pretty much it for me, man. Sorry, what were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. It sound like what is I talked about triggers. Like, what is like the? It's not Christmas. It is Christmas. What is, like, if you were gonna define like the one thing that flips that switch for you? What is it that makes you really go, it's Christmas time, like it, and get in the mood?
I live in Milton, and our downtown, it's not even a downtown, man. It's like we're a tiny community.
Yeah.
The second those lamp poles are decorated with like a
Ah.
snowflake, yep, it's the holiday season. And it happens like clockwork after Remembrance Day. After Remembrance
Ah.
Day, it's up, and that's what puts me in the mood to put on like those Christmas specials and get into
Mm-hmm.
there. Granted,
Yeah.
my Christmas trigger this year was September back to school.
Yeah.
That was this year's trigger, but 9 out of 10 times when I'm in my normal headspace, it is post
Yeah.
Remembrance Day, the first indication of that. Now, I've also got some neighbors who just they never take down the Christmas tree like decorations. It's just there all year round, and then they
Oh
just
yeah.
light it
Yeah.
up. So like you're always seeing
Yeah.
something. But then another trigger is if I'm driving in my neighborhood and I see a blow up Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or a Santa Claus. That could be another one where if I haven't been downtown, where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's up. Well, it's that time of year.
Yeah. 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 So it's the visuals, right? The visual cues.
100%.
I,
And what about you?
I, yeah, I got to share because, um, there, it is definitely controlled by myself, which is a movie, and that's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I don't. Have you ever seen that one before? It,
I've seen
it,
a Christmas Vacation, but like not
yes,
right.
yes. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yep.
There's a boatload. I mean, Could be Die Hard. It could be Home Alone. Die Hard's still the big
We'll
negotiation.
count it. We'll count it.
I'm counting it for sure, hands down. So, but no, that movie is always the first one that I'm like, I like. Sometimes I need to like get into the mood. That's the one I'll throw on without a doubt, because it always brings me back. There is a million one-liners, and it's all super ridiculous and super cheesy, and I just love it. I just love it, and it is with the, I don't need a Christmas tree up. I don't need Christmas lights. I don't need presents. I don't need anything. If I see that, I'm like, that's it. That I am in the mood. It's time to get going. That's my trigger.
For me, it's either the Home Alone series or Elf, man. Like, just I think I love
Yeah,
Will Ferrell's comedic genius, and man, he
yeah.
owns the character of Elf, man. Like, you believe, yeah, the spaghetti and the,
Spaghetti.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. There is some good ones in there. But if I watched Elf before Christmas Vacation, I
oh,
wouldn't be
100%.
there. But I will definitely go hit up Elf and Home Alone. I, I'm with you with the music too. It's spot on. It's amazing, and it is. Yeah. Anyways, I gotta go watch that movie now. So. Oh man, awesome. Well, this has been a good one. It's been a fun one and very festive, to say the least. And I've been smiling throughout the whole time, and probably got even more crow's feet now from the smiles. But you put me in the mood, man. That's all I gotta say. You know, I'm ready to go watch National Lampoons and get in the Christmas spirit for sure.
Likewise, man. Honestly, thank you for this chat. And honestly, this call has been the trigger to get me into the Christmas spirit. So,
Nice, nice, nice.
honestly, man, if I don't get a chance to meet with you, and I'm certain I will be chatting with you consistently, but Merry
Yeah,
Christmas from the Alley family to the Lambrick family. Have lots of fun. Cannot wait for the presents and the company and the good food. And yeah, man, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well, Hassan. To you and
Cheers.
yours. Thanks.